war led to the formation of the State of Israel. Here, some serious issues are there, whether it's a Jewish state or it is a Zionist state, a non-Palestinian state, non-Arab state, Judaic state. We don't go into the nuances of that, except to say that this was a state meant for the Jewish people. And since the Jewish people had gone through a very tough time at the hand of not just Germany, a number of others, in terms of persecution and all that, everybody had sympathy for them. However, this displaced about 700,000 people. And the counter-argument some people make pro-Jewish is that about 700,000 Jews were pushed out of other Arab countries once the State of Israel was formed. So that is the balance. It may be a balance in an arithmetic sense, but it's not justice to the people, Palestinians. It is not a justice to the Jewish people that they got pushed out or went out there on their own from other Arab countries because they had a homeland. The issue is that the Palestinians got displaced. Now that displacement, going into refugee colonies, not having lands of their own, has continued so far, which generates also so-called freedom fighters, somebody might call terrorists, people who want to use the arms to free their homeland or to go back to their homeland. While Israel became very, very strong militarily, especially because of the support of Americans and the British especially, Palestinians did not have those kinds of arms, tanks, and so on and so forth, and planes. So there was a 6-day war in 1967, which shaped the territorial boundaries, with Israel occupying the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. Now this is very, very important, because this 6-day war, Israel was a clear winner, and the Arabs were clear losers. And whatever definitions of two state or discussion of two states till today which gets formed is for the Israel to go back to its 1967 boundary and give the occupied territories, and these are called occupied territories, West Bank, Gaza Strip, and the East Jerusalem. But now Israel is not willing to change its position at all in terms of East Jerusalem, calling it their holy places. And Muslims also have that as a holy place. And Christians also have it. So they have created a condition and persuaded their own people and decision makers that we will make our capital as East Jerusalem only. So this is one of the major blocks in a two-state solution. The conflict involves competing claims to the same land. Therefore, somebody has to lose, somebody has to gain, somebody has to give up something, somebody has to give up something, and then only a compromise can be formed. And unfortunately, both claimed it is their own land. In case of Jews, they want to go back to 3,000 years ago, I mean, before the Romans came and took over the place, because that it was their land 3,000 years ago. Now, that's too much of a stretch of the imagination. If you do a mechanical analysis of all the years and dynasties and people staying and all that, then it's the Arabs or the Palestinians who have stayed far more in this particular land, something like 450 to 550 years since the Christian era. Now, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains one of the most complex and contentious issues in international relations, with implications for regional stability and global diplomacy. And there is something about, that democracies are good, and the other mechanisms are not that good. But there is no other democracy in the whole of the Middle East. It's all dictatorship of one kind or the other, kingship of one kind or the other, sheikhdom of one kind or the other. But they don't do such dastardly act like this democratic state of very intelligent people has done. Repeatedly kill civilians indiscriminately. That is something which people are beginning to object to. Okay, just in terms of numbers, unfortunately, in terms of dead, If we just look at the conflicts between from 2008 to 2023 till 7th October, then they've had major conflagrations in those 2 years, 2008, 2009. The number of Israelis killed is very small compared to the Palestinians. Number of civilians killed is very large in case of the Palestinians. And the high thing was in 2014 war, when a lot of discussion took place, and we will also refer to some of the discussions on two-state, one state, and also in the BDS context. So 2014, over 2,000 Palestinians had died. And from 2008 to 2023, 6,400 Palestinians died, while 308 Israelis had been killed. Now, as I said, this is unfortunate, but this is the cost of the war. These are small population countries, and so many people get out of active work, and in case of Palestinians, they emigrate out. As you said, about 4 million Palestinians out of 6 are out, while about 6 million is the population now of Jews. And therefore, these 4 million people are not contributing anything to the economy of Palestine. Right? They may be making a living, maybe a little bit of repatriation of money. So, all the young persons, eligible persons, marriage-wise also, everything out. So, what is left behind? Women and children and old people. Imagine. So, this is the cost of war. Now, what is the immediate impact of the 8th October? The short-term impact is already visible. About 1 million people have got displaced. About 10,000 have died. 25,000 wounded. Order of magnitude, because we don't have sources for direct. It can be plus minus. The major impact is on the crude oil prices, which have surged nearly 5%. So we are talking about $4 or something like that. $4 plus per barrel. And as I said, 100 million barrels are produced every day. So $400 million extra to be paid. This is the cost of the war. Trade balance, India is a major importer of crude oil. Therefore, it has impact. And higher oil prices, it can obviously will result in trade deficit. Some people might say, but we buy from Russia more. More meaning 30-40% of the overall requirement. But that also in sympathy rises. It's not that Russian oil is coming free to India. We may be able to pay it in other currencies, but that's the only saving grace. But price will be higher. Now, this price, till now, we have absorbed since the Ukraine war. That means the government has absorbed any fluctuations and changes in price. But beyond a particular level, we will not. Now, that is where the estimations are there. If it becomes a regional war, for multiple reasons, including the transport getting affected, logistics getting affected, deals getting affected, that if another 5% is added, now that breaks the back. That breaks the back in terms of trade deficit. So this is the marginal things which matter. Trade deficit becomes more, your inflation starts going up. Your prices start going up. So we will see that later. So an increase in oil prices will obviously lead to the inflationary pressures, as we have also seen in 2022 when Ukraine conflict took place. Then we have fiscal deficit. If the crude oil prices remain at the elevated level, the government may need to increase subsidies or absorb a portion of the price increase, leading to higher fiscal deficit. So you end up getting inflation on one hand, or you get fiscal deficit on the other hand, which again will lead to inflation. So net effect will be on inflation. Currency exchange rates could change. A significant increase in oil prices can, of course, put pressure on Indian rupee. India pays for oil imports in dollars. Also now, ruble or yuan. A higher oil import bill can lead to weakening of the rupee. So that means rupee weakens. Rupee weakens, all the imports become expensive. Israel currency has already lost 8% of its value vis-a-vis US dollar. That's important. And Israel is quite an import-export economy. So their import costs have gone up. One can keep on discussing the various aspects of conflicts, Palestine and Israel, or Arabs in Israel, and there is a very large amount of literature. We just shortlisted about 10 books, and then I have shortlisted 4 lectures, or not lectures, discussions, a lecture cum discussion in Oxford and Cambridge, but they are done 7 years ago, and this is about two-nation concept and the BDS. Now, when I was reviewing that, I realized that the issues are so fresh that discussion could have taken place yesterday. Therefore, I will be linking it up and mentioning only briefly as to what the status is in terms of this thing of two nations. Hardly anybody is talking about it because people now think it's not feasible. And the BDS, there is a group which says that this kind of pressure is what will make Israel come to the negotiating table. Other things will not.